Welcome back, students. Now in this video we will discuss the dielectrics of part 2. Okay. Now in the part 1 actually, so we have left with this slide where we are about to discuss about the different types of polarizations. Okay, that means, so just mentioned that there are 4 types of dielectrics. One is electronic polarization, the second one is ionic polarization, the third one is orientation polarization, and the fourth one is space charge polarization. Now let us discuss these mechanisms one by one. Okay. Now look at the first one. So the first one is electronic polarization. It is also called induced polarization. So this kind of mechanism occurs only when the dielectric material is considered in which there are no permanent dipoles. Okay, there are no permanent dipoles means the molecules in the dielectrics are in this form. Okay, you can see the figure here. So where the center of the nucleus, positively charged nucleus, is coinciding with center of the negative charge also. Okay, so both are considered as concentric here. So that means there is no separation between positive and negative. Okay. So now once the field, external field is applied on such material, what happens? So you can look at the second diagram where under the application of electric field, slight separation takes place between positive and negative charges in each of the molecule. Okay. So and hence, so the separation leads to dipole moment. Okay. So we can calculate the dipole moment of each atom or molecule. Okay, so this kind of separation of charges due to the application of the electric field. So there is a distribution of the charge on both sides, So that kind of mechanism is called electronic polarization. So this contribution is major in the total polarization of the material. Okay. So now how to calculate the electronic polarization then? So we have to consider first the calculation of induced dipole moment. So that is nothing but mu E. It is equal to what? Alpha E into E. Okay, where alpha E is considered as electronic polarizability. Electronic polarizability is proportional to the volume of the atoms, in fact, and hence we can consider the electronic polarizability alpha is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught into R cube, where R is considered as radius of the atom. Okay, so now electronic polarization is always given by the product of N into mu E. So where N is the total number of atoms present in the dielectric per meter cube and mu E is the electronic polarizability. Okay. So now mu E is already considered as the equation. The first equation mu E is equal to alpha E into E here. So we will get P as N into alpha E into capital E. So where capital E is nothing but the strength of the applied electric field on it. Okay. So now the equation 1 gives the total electronic polarization contribution. Okay, now this kind of polarization is occurs in what kind of materials, So particularly you have to consider monoatomic gases. So monoatomic gases like helium, neon, argon, okay, krypton, xenon, etc. So the value is normally in the order of 10 to the power of minus 40 farad meter square. So in this blank dash, you can substitute the values of helium, let us say 0.8 or 0.35, 1.46 for argon, etc. Okay, that means for example helium 0.18 into 10 to the power of minus 40 farad meter square, like that. Okay, so these are the values of electronic polarization in the material, particularly monoatomic gases. Okay, so this electronic polarization normally occurs at very high frequency, So in the order of 10 to the power of 15 hertz. So that is called optical frequencies, or in the order of 10 to the power of 15 hertz. And electronic polarization is considered, it is independent of temperature. Okay, it is not varying with respect to temperature of the material. Okay, next one is ionic polarization. So this occurs only in a material which have the atoms in the ionic state. Particularly, we would consider the atoms in the ionic state here. So for example, ionic crystal, such that NaCl is an example here. So sodium chloride, you can take it as an example. And then when the electric field is applied, what happens? Okay, so it displaces the positive ions in the direction away from the field. Positive ions are moved away from the field, and negative ions in the direction of the applied field. Okay, so which give rise to a net dipole moment due to the mutual displacement of the ions. So So this contribution of ionic polarization is given by again n into alpha I into E. So where n is again total number of atoms present in the material. Okay, alpha I is the ionic polarizability factor, and E is the strength of the applied field. Okay, so you can see in the figure. So where in the absence of the field, the ions are situated in their lattice positions. So once the field is applied, okay, the displacement takes place in the atoms in such a way that so positive ions are moving in the opposite direction, or negative ions are moving in the direction of the field. Okay. So now you look at the next slide where we can see exactly how the separation takes place between positive and negative ions here. Okay. So positive ions are displaced through certain distance x1, whereas the chloride ions are displaced through certain distance x2. The total distance between the two ions, positive and negative, is equal to how much now? X1 plus x2. Okay. So to calculate the resultant induced dipole moment, so under the application of electric field, now the mu I is given by, so Q is the charge of the one of the ion here, Q into total separation is x1 plus x2. So this gives the dipole moment due to induced polarization. Okay. So this figure again indicating how the ionic polarization takes place in the material when it is kept in the capacitor consisting of two plates here. Okay, so ions are separated one side and cations are separated on the other side, so that the plate accumulates the positive charge this side, and this side anion side, so plate is acquiring negative charges. Okay, so this leads to the formation of electric field also, and it acts, the capacitor acts as now the storage of charges. Okay, it is like a tank which stores the charges in the dielectric material. So this polarization occurs normally at the frequency little less than the electronic polarization, that is in the order of 10 power of 13 Hertz. So that is considered in the range of IR. IR means infrared. Okay, it is slower process compared to the previous one, that is electronic polarization, and it is independent of temperature. You can remember. The next one is, what is that? Orientation polarization, alpha O. Let us say polarizability factor is alpha O. So this is found only in the substances that possess permanent dipole moments. So the polarization results from the rotation of permanent dipoles into the direction of applied field here. So it is strongly temperature dependent and decreases with the increase of temperature, we can say. So you can see the figure. This is without field. The alignment of dipoles are randomly oriented here. So whereas okay. Now the second figure indicates how the dipoles are oriented in the particular direction, in the direction of the applied field. Clear? So it is also called dipolar or molecular polarization. The molecules such as H2N2, O2, Cl2, CH4, CCl4, if you consider this kind of molecules, so they do not carry any dipole. Okay, because center of positive charge and center of negative charge are not coincided. Okay, whereas the molecules such as CH3Cl, H2O, HCl, etc., so they have the permanent dipoles in which there is separation, and you can calculate the dipole moment also. Okay, so once the field is applied, the just alignment of the dipole takes place. That mechanism is called orientation. Okay, orientation, polarization, contribution by certain materials like this. So this orientation polarization occurs at the frequency 10 to the power of 6 Hertz to 10 to the power of 10 Hertz, and it is slow process compared to again previous one, that is ionic polarization, and it greatly depends on temperature, because the alignment of the dipole, randomness, okay, all depends upon temperature. Okay, so that's why I have to say it is temperature dependent mechanism. Now orientation polarizability is given by, so alpha E is equal to mu P square divided by 3 kT. Okay, mu P is again the polarization factor it is. So mu P, dipole moment of the polarization. K is the Boltzmann constant, T is the absolute temperature. Okay, so that is equal to P naught by N into E also. Right. So by cross multiplication, so we can get the equation as P naught is equal to Ne into mu P square divided by 3 kT. So where orientation polarization is, you can see, inversely proportional to temperature. Okay, it is inversely proportional to absolute temperature. So this is the equation 3 contributed by orientation mechanism. The last one is space charge polarization. So this is also called interfacial polarization also. Okay. Space charge polarization occurs in multiphase dielectric materials. So what do you mean by that multiphase dielectric materials? So normally the material consisting of certain domains or phases in which there is a change of resistivity takes place. So resistivity is not uniform throughout the material. So at certain domains resistivity varies. Okay. So in that particular domains the distribution of charges may be random. Okay. You can see it like this. Random distribution of charges takes place inside the material due to change of resistivity. So once the field is applied, immediately the charges activate. Okay. To act as a the dielectric increase the resistivity or decrease the resistivity. Okay. The conductivity depends upon how the charges gets activated within that domain. Okay. So the space charge polarization is not an important factor in most of the common dielectric. Okay. So anyway, so how the polarization takes place here within the domain, you can see that all positive charges are accumulating at one side, all negative charges are accumulating at the opposite side, so at the surface of the domain. So and hence it is called interfacial. Okay. So this is the surface between the two domains. Okay. So at that separation or interfacial position, we get the accumulation of the charges. So that gives the contribution for the polarization in the material. So that is called space charge polarization. So of course, we mentioned here it is not that important factor to consider the contribution to total polarization of the dielectric material. Clear? Now let us see how to calculate the total polarization in the material by all these mechanisms. So total polarizability is given by alpha is equal to alpha E plus alpha I plus alpha O. Okay. So now you can see in the graph. So this space charge polarization occurs at low frequency, not that considerable here. So then alpha E dipolar polarizability or ionic polarizability, electronic polarizability. So they are frequency dependent here. Okay. So you can consider especially the first three here for the total polarization contribution. Now let us see how to be calculated from all these three equations 1, 2 and 3. So here the recap of all the equations are mentioned. P is given by N into alpha E into E, where Pi ionic polarization is N into alpha I into E. PO is equal to Ne mu P square by 3 kT. Okay. So combining all these three equations, so P is equal to Pe plus Pi plus Q. So we can just add all the three mechanisms to get the total polarization P. Substitute all these equations Pe, Pi and Po from equations 1, 2, 3. So you can look at the equations. N is common here, right? So N is common. You can take it out. And even applied electric field is also common all the materials. E is common. Left with only the equation of total polarization is N into alpha E plus alpha I plus mu P square divided by 3 kT into E. Okay. So this equation 4 will give you the total polarization in the dielectric material contributed by different mechanisms, electronic, ionic and orientation polarization. Okay, space charge polarization contribution is very much negligible, so it is not considered in the equation part. Clear? So next part of the discussion is about the calculation of Lorentz field. Okay, it is also called internal fields in the liquids and solids. Okay, so it is a kind of a theory part where you can calculate, derive the equation. Okay, you have to derive the equation. So that derivation I think you can discuss in the next video. Clear? So this is the second video for you. Go through that basics. So keep reading. Okay. We will discuss the internal field calculation in the next video. Okay. Thank you.